on this laptop before the WAN could disconnect. Complete post. So you just click go live. This one's already live. This one's already live. Twitch. It's live. Okay, so you just need to go live, Tom, on these two. Click go live. Click go live. And fuck this anyway.
Just Facebook and Instagram.
Hello. Yeah, Facebook and Instagram, and it should work.
Is audio working?
I should go to Kick or something and actually check it, right? Let me check.
Did you check it on this? Because this is muted.
Yeah, but it's not saying anything.
Because it's muted.
Oh, damn, you're right, Tom. Okay, so there you go, Tom. Let's click go live and let's do it. Can you just keep an eye on the chats wherever it might be? Yeah, click it. One sec. Oh. I know not now, but okay. We'll see if it goes live. Okay, it's working. There you go, Tom. Don't forget the cuts and stuff as well. Pardon? Okay, welcome to this video. In this video, what we're going to be covering is every business is a funnel, and we're going to go through each of these stages in the funnel of every single business. We're going to focus on how and where leaks happen inside of your business and figuring out where to actually implement your time and effort to fix the gaps inside of the funnel. So let's start by talking about the first one. So let's put some example numbers into here. Let's assume you have 1,000 impressions on your ads, on your Google ads, on your Facebook ads. You've obtained 100 clicks. And from those 100 clicks, you got, let's say, 20 calls. From those 20 calls, you got 10 quotes, and then you had 5 sales. So if we calculate the drop-off, there's a 90% drop-off from impressions to click, which is one could say 10% click-through rate. From clicks to calls, we have a 80% drop-off, which means it's a 20% conversion rate. So that means 20% of the people that clicked onto your ads actually converted and actually booked in for a call. The next drop-off is a 50% drop-off. Out of those 20 people that gave your business a call, half of them actually booked in for a quote. So that would be 50% call to quote percentage. And then out of those people, out of those 10 quotes that your business has had, you've had another 50% reduction, which means you have a 50% call to quote, quote to sales. That means you have a 50% quote to sale percentage. So what we now need to figure out is what actions your business can take, what's the highest leverage your business can pull on in this situation to increase the number of sales at the bottom line of your company. So how do we get this number higher at the easiest way and method? So a way of thinking about this is looking at these numbers. At what point was the biggest drop-off? We can easily see that impressions to clicks had the highest drop-off, and this is a function, this drop-off is a function of your headlines. Your ads, descriptions, And if you are running social media content, you're creative. That's number one, the issue or the reason why you've had 1,000 impressions and 100 clicks. Another reason for that is you've had a huge drop off. Maybe the impressions that you were gathering was not your ideal target audience, which is why only 10% click through onto the ads. For social media, 10% click through rate is very high. For something like Google Ads, it's the industry benchmark, and it's the average every company should be aiming for at least 10%. So looking at this already, we can see the headlines have had a drop off of 90%, only 10% CTR. So let's assume we're talking about social media for a second. We can easily see and work out that if we improved the CTR, we would have more clicks, which in turn means that more of the 1,000 impressions filters down your funnel. A funnel is essentially how do people first find you, then call you, then get a quote, and then actually book a job with you. That's the funnel that we're looking at. So where's the highest leverage that we can pull with the highest uplift in your account to have a higher number of sales? In my opinion, you can focus most on your creative, your headlines, your ads, and your descriptions, which if we do a different scenario, let's say the same 1,000 impressions now goes to 200 clicks, which is now only an 80% reduction, which is a 20% click-through rate, which is completely normal on Google Ads or even social media, going from a 3 to 5% click-through rate going all the way up to a 6% click-through rate, for example. It means you have 200 clicks. If we work off by the same numbers, and let's say we didn't improve anything else in your funnel, those 200 clicks with that 80% reduction means you now have 40 calls. Same call to quote ratio, 50%, that means you now have 20 quotes. That means you now should have 10 sales. So you've actually doubled your business just by doubling your impression to click rate, which means your click-through rate has gone higher on your ads. So by not changing your landing page, not by changing your sales process, by only changing your click-through rate or improving your headlines, your ads, your descriptions, your ad creative, and getting more people to click onto your ads, actually means that you are now generating double the sales at the bottom. That's the first thing we can fix. So we've optimized your click-through rate for higher clicks. Let's now assume that you can improve the second stage, which is clicks to calls. How many people actually clicked onto your ad or your website and actually converted by giving you a call or filling in the form? At this drop off, it's about 80%, which means it's a 20% conversion rate. On Google Ads, let's assume we can get that to 30%. That's a 50% improvement, which means from those 40 calls, we have approximately, I'm gonna have to get my maths right, from those 40 calls, 40 clicks, out of those 200 clicks, if we have a higher conversion rate, then what we would be able to do is have 66 calls, I believe, instead of the 20 originally, or the 40 for this previous example. With those 66 calls, let's break down the numbers again. That's 33 quotes. And that would be 16 sales for your business. So the first thing we changed was we improved your click-through rate by improving the headlines and the ads. Then we didn't change anything else except we improved the conversion rate. Improving the conversion rate happened through your landing pages, through your tracking as well, potentially, if your tracking is incorrect and not the most accurate. And that is just a 10% or 50% improvement or a 10% uplift on your conversion rate, which means now what we've done is we've gone from 1,000 impressions that led to 5 sales, and we've gone to those same 1,000 impressions leading to 16 sales, which is a 3x improvement only by improving your click-through rate by 10%, and also by improving your landing page by a further 10%. So 10% improvement at each one of your stages of your funnel has actually meant your business has gone from 5 sales to 16 sales. The first 2 stages, improving your click-through rate and your conversion rate, is the responsibility for any marketing agency or partner that you work with. The calls to quotes will be a separate video or a separate live stream, which will discuss how businesses can optimize their reception, their sales teams to improve this bottom section. However, the largest drop-off does happen at the marketing function, which is your click-through rates and your conversion rates. Just by improving these two, you can expect an improvement of up to 3x just with these small changes over here. So how do you improve overall? So to get more qualified, you need to have better messaging, you need to have better headlines, better ads, better descriptions, better creatives, and you need to improve your offer. So to get more people to click onto your ad, you need better ads that speak to your target audience so you can get more clicks and calls. So the next stage is what we'll be covering in the next video in the future would be calls to quotes, how you pick up the phone to make sure that you can book in a technician for an on-site quote and visit, because it's not all about getting them to call you, it's about what happens after they call you. And then how to get from quotes to the solution, which is actually the sale when your technician goes on site and visits the person at their property. Okay, I think, Tom, that's that. Let's see if everything's working on the live stream. How to get from quotes? We have two people. Hey, Jim's mowing. Hey, Kushal, how are you guys? If you have any questions, if you can call me, absolutely, Jim. I will definitely call you. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, you know, comment them down below. Tom, do those comments pop up on your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's the funnel of every single business. How you need to think about it. It's not always what the marketing team is doing. It's not always what you guys are doing with handling your calls. A lot of it's a partnership at the end of the day. But I do think most of the uplift in terms of improvement to your sales happens when you improve your click-through rates and your conversion rate on your landing pages. Those simple changes will mean higher sales very, very easily. So now let's go into something much more interesting, which is why discounts kill business. So everyone knows this, no one likes discounting in their business, but I'm going to exactly show you how it kills your business even more than you think it does. This might be groundbreaking, or it might be a different way which you haven't considered or thought about before. So I'm going to break down 2 examples on how businesses normally discount and how that affects their bottom line and their gross margins way more than they can expect. So let's do 2 scenarios. Let's put one on the right and one on the left. So let's say we have the normal price and we have your 10% discount price here. Okay, so let's say we add your sale price over here. We have your cost of goods delivered. So how much does it cost your business to actually go out and do the work and actually, you know, provide the service, whether it's consulting, plumbing, electrical, mowing, pest control, whatever industry it is, what's the cost of you to deliver those services? Then we can do GP, which is your gross profit, and then we do GM, which is your gross margins. So let's say your normal price is $100 for your service. Let's assume you are doing something for $100. That 10% discount means it's now $90. Your cost of goods delivered, so how much does it cost you to cut a lawn? Let's say to do your lawn mowing business, it costs you $100. You're charging the customer $100. How much did it cost you to actually cut the lawn? We're going to go on the very, very high side. Let's go with $60 to get out to the property, to get your petrol into your machine, all of that kind of stuff. Let's say it costs you $60. Your gross profit, of course, would be 100 minus the 60, which means it's $40, which is a gross margin of 40%. Looks good, right? Grow your business, collect all of the cash. But where does it go wrong? Where did it go wrong when you discounted? Let's take a look. So you discounted your business from 10% to $90. However, your cost of goods or services delivered is still $60. Even though you have discounted your customer, it still costs you $60 to deliver the service. So nothing has changed. But this is where things will start to change now. Your gross profit, $90 minus your $60, it's actually only $30. your gross margin, instead of it being 40%, it's actually 33%, I believe. It's the early morning, guys, forgive my maths. So you can see a 7% reduction in your gross margin just by making that one change. So that's actually not the final number, because you might be thinking the gross margin or the gross profit is from the discounted price, but your normal pricing is $100. It's not 90. So we should actually subtract the numbers from the normal pricing. But let me give you one more example. This is going to completely confirm in your mind why you should never discount not to win any business unless you're looking for long-term. It's a recurring service potentially you can offer them, like recurring roof solar panel cleaning or recurring lawn mowing services. In that situation, which we'll cover later as well, it does make sense, but we need to stagger the discounting on per by service basis. So your first service, there's no discount. Second service, there's discount. Third service, there's this discount. So let's do one more example, which is a 30% discount. How much does that affect your business? So instead of the $100 that your normal price was, it's actually $70 for you to sell your service to your customer. Someone's asked, hey, I've got $70, can you do it? Let's say you say yes. Let's say you bend over and say yes to this person. To deliver your services, it's still $60. Still costs you $60 to get out to the property and actually do the service and deliver the service to them. Your gross profit has gone from $40 to $30 to $10. You're only left with $10 at the end of it, which is 14%. I know these numbers, guys, I've studied them. 14% gross margin at the bottom line. From a $40 profit, you've gone down to 40%, you've gone down to 14%, just because you reduce your price from $100 to $70. Up front, $30 doesn't look like a lot to your business, but this 40% allows you to go and invest money back into your ads and go and acquire new customers. Now with these 14%, you're just paying the tax man. You have nothing left, absolutely nothing. This 26% reduction is everything in your business. That is the profit, that is the growth, that is your staff, that's you going and hiring more people so you can do more marketing, you can hand out more leaflets, you can do more things in your business. So the hidden truth, this looks all fancy and stuff, but I'm gonna give you one more breakthrough, one more thing you've never expected. So let's call this the hidden truth. Sounds suspenseful, right? But it is. So you discounted by, let's say 30%, $100 to $70, the discount was 30%, right? That does not mean that you had a 30% drop in profit. Equals no. 30% reduction in your price, in your discount, did not mean a 30% reduction in profit. What did it actually reduce in your business in terms of profitability? Let me show you. So your profit actually dropped by 75%. You're going to be thinking, how did it go from 14% to 40% to 14%? How is that 75%? Just by discounting, I'm going to explain exactly how. Your profit has actually gone from $40 to $10. $40 all the way down to $10. That's a reduction of 75% to your profit margins. So previously, let's say your business only wanted to generate, let's say, $200 in profit a day. That means you would need to do 5 of these jobs to generate $200 in profit, right? $500 in revenue, $500 in profit at normal pricing. If you wanted to generate $200 in profit with this discounted method of 30% off to acquire new customers for cheaper, you're going to have to do 20 jobs to generate that $200 in profit. You basically are a charity at this point. You're basically doing work for free in the hope that they come back, in the hope that somewhere else you'll make up the money. But you won't. You're doing how many? 5 times as many jobs for the same profit? Is that really worth it? Can you find those 5 customers that will pay you that remaining amount? So if your service is $100 and you discount by 30%, I'm going to summarize it quickly. you've now not reduced your profit margins by 30%, you've actually reduced them by 75%. Your gross margin has reduced by 26%, but your profit has reduced by 75%. Do not discount, never do it. You're basically working for free at this point. So at 40%, you are working for free. So 60 bucks, so the service that was $100 initially is now $60. Cost of delivery is $60. Your gross profit is $0, and your gross margin is, what is the gross margin? 0%? 60% is your break-even point. No profit whatsoever. Why are you in business if you are not able to actually generate a profit on your return? So from this table, if you're going to actually take away anything, anyone watching this later on from our shorts or YouTube videos or TikTok or Twitch or Instagram, wherever you're watching this, never discount, because you might think reducing your pricing by 10% is reducing your profit by 10%. No, it's a way bigger jump. One more time, let me show you this. Just with a 10% reduction, your gross profit has gone from $40 to 30%. That's a reduction of, I believe, 25% in your profits gone. 10% discount has led to a 25% reduction in your profit. Don't do it. That's it, Tom. That's that one video. Let's go to the next. Well, did that make sense, Tom, do you think?
Yeah. Should I be like stopping the recordings and stuff?
No, it's gonna break. Something will definitely break. Let's go to the next one. Oh, this one's exciting and fun. So let's call this customer concentration risk. This next topic is going to be tailored towards businesses that have a high reliance on a few big clients. We are pretty similar. We have a few very, very big clients. We fall into this risk and this issue very often. But at the end of the day, my job is to explain this to you so that you can try and reduce and mitigate this as much as possible. So the main objective of this will be, don't let one customer or a few customers become too much of your business. I'm going to give you visualized examples. I'm going to go straight into it. What does this mean? It means don't let your customers become too much of your business. So let's draw two examples. We're going to have two sides again. It's not in the middle, is it? I need to go a bit to the left, but hey. So this side is high risk. This side is healthy. Let's go with the high risk side. If your business is on this side and you're, let's say, selling high ticket offers, let's say your services are $500, $1,000, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, this is very, very risky, what I'm about to show you. Here's a pie chart. 40%, let's say 30%, and let's say 70, 40, 70, okay guys, I know this doesn't look like 30%, but let's assume that is 30%. Actually, it'll probably be better if I do this again for the video. So here's a circle, 40%, let's go with 30%, and then let's go with 70, let's go with 20, and then 10%. So here's a high risk zone. This is customer A, customer B, C, and D. So customer A is worth, let's say your business generates $100,000 in revenue per year. Let's assume your business generates $100,000 in annual revenue. What is the customer concentration risk? Customer A is worth 40% of your business, B is worth 30%, C is worth 20%, and customer D, or one could say other customers, the smaller customers in your business that require smaller services, worth 10%. What do you think is going to happen when that 40% customer goes away, or they, moved cities, or they pass away, or they move, or something happens, that 40% customer goes, what do you think happens? But let me give you another scenario before I continue explaining. Here's the healthy side. A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. This is the healthy side of your business, which is 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%. Now what happens? What's the risk? If customer A leaves on this side of your business, 40% reduction to your company's revenue. If customer A leaves on this side, it's only a 20% reduction to your business. It's a 50% difference. So if customer A leaves on this side, you lose 40% of your revenue. Gone. Capital letters, it's important. Never let one of your customers be so big. Even 20%, 10%, that's too big. For example, let's say in our agency, if a client is worth more than 10% of our business, a huge client, it's a risk. We have to go and acquire more clients so that the risk threshold reduces for our company, because there's always a chance a client sells their business and then the new company that owns them don't want to use our marketing services, for example. This happened to me exactly. Now we're trying to recover. Having a big client is a blessing in disguise and a pain in disguise. Blessing in disguise, because it's one paying customer that is reliable revenue and it's a huge chunk of your business, but it's also a very big risk for your company at the same time if they go. So this side, when the customer, when they left, 20% reduction in your revenue, which means your business is still strong and you can go and acquire that new customer easily. Whereas on this side, weak, your business is now only running at 60% of what it was because of one day. One bad service, one bad staff caused you to lose this paying customer potentially. Now you've lost 40% of your business. What do you do in this situation? Let's say you said, hey Rohit, we have a customer, they're our big client. We can't just get rid of them because it's a risk, or we can't just go and find more people that are such a big customer for our business. What should we do? Go and find more customers, even if they're smaller ones, so that this overall 40% is a smaller chunk of your business. If you got 20 new customers in that overall pie, the 30% would increase, the smaller customer brackets would increase, which means now that 40% has gone down to 30%. The risk has gone down. It's gone down to 20%, 10%. I would say no customer should be worth more than 10 or 15% of your business ever. No matter what industry you're in, high, low ticket, expensive, whatever industry it is. It's very risky, very dangerous, and you will definitely, have some issues with cash flow in your company. We go through this every single day with our clients. It's trying to work out for them, is it best to always go for big contractual jobs, which will end up being such a big chunk of your pie, or initially working together to get a high volume of new, smaller clients, which means the risk threshold inside of their account, inside of their business is a bit lower, and then slowly implementing or adding some bigger clients into their account. That's a discussion we have with our clients every single day. And it's tough because every business wants, bigger customers. But then when we sit down and discuss the risks that one customer can have to our relationship working with them, to their business, to their banking, to their cash flow, that conversation starts to become a lot more easier when they figure out how dangerous this actually is. Danger, and then the positive return your business could have is a balancing act every business owner has to measure themselves. Yeah, that's that one. Okay, so let's rub this one off. Tom, do you think? Okay, I've got to do the outro for the YouTube. If your business has been, if your business has such a high, if your business is very reliant on one customer audience or one customer segment, for example, 30-40% of your revenue comes from one customer, you guys need to add new customers so that this large client of yours doesn't take up such a big chunk of your revenue, which reduces the risk. If you found this video helpful and useful, and if you have any questions at all, don't forget to comment down below and subscribe and follow to this page for more. Done. Next video. Hopefully we can This whiteboard rubber is useless. Jim, what's the highest revenue percentage that a client takes of your business? Ah, this one. I like this one. This is going to take up a lot of space on the whiteboard, but let's go here. There, let's go to this. 5 types customers. The reason why I wanted to make this video, 5 type of customers, everyone subconsciously always thinks that their business only has 2 kind of customers, cheap and premium. That's not true, and everyone, when they treat their customers the exact same, you start losing and treating your customers in either one or 2 ways. So what we're going to do is explain the 5 kind of customers that every business has, not just the 2 type of businesses that you think exist. So number 1 is price shoppers. Everyone knows these. We get them, you get them, everyone gets these kind of customers. Second kind of customer is an emergency buyer, which is great for some of our clients who are plumbers, electricians, etc., who need emergency services as well. We also have a premium buyer. A premium buyer, and we have a loyal customer. Home service businesses, if you can increase your loyal customer base, you will need to spend less on your marketing to go and acquire new customers. In another video or later in this stream, I will cover on how churn in your business, which is how you lose clients, how you replace them at an effective rate so that your bucket essentially is always full at the same absolute level. So how much do you need to keep reinvesting to keep your business at the exact same level? Because every business loses customers and clients. It's about being proactive and making sure the bucket is always full up at that same absolute level. Last one, referral customer. Okay, these are the 5 kind of customers you get. Everyone always assumes it's number 1 or number 3 or number 4, but let's go further into detail into these buyer types. So, price shoppers. What do they do? Let's go into this. Price shoppers always compare prices. And I'm going to go further into why this harms your business. And if you haven't watched our other videos on our YouTube channel, where we compared, or a previous post on my page, there was a video on how cheap leads actually cost you more money because they don't pick up the phone. They cancel on you last minute, and that has cost you money in your lead cost you money in picking up the phone, cost you money in turning up to the house. And now not only have you generated $0 in revenue, you've actually lost money on turning up to the customer's house and they've just cancelled, or you've given them a quote and they've not gone ahead with something. So that is how cheap leads cost you a lot of money. So they're always focused on price, or of course, they have a low commitment. That means they're not really interested. They're not an emergency client or a premium buyer who just wants it done and dusted. Hey, take care of it. Someone who's negotiates a little bit with you, we don't normally call them a price shopper. We call them, someone, an astute purchaser, or someone who is trying to make a decision.
Chat?
Yeah.
Instagram chat?
Yeah. Okay. I have one contractor sending us 2 to 4 new leads a week, which is about 70 to 80K work for the year now. They are gone. Wow. Okay, I'm going to dive into that further and showing you how much impact that actually could have and how you actually fix it and repair it, fix those issues. So price shoppers, they also will always buy the cheapest. So someone, like I was saying, who is trying to get a bit of a discount, it's not always a price shopper, it's someone who wants to get the best deal. That's a bit different. A price shopper is someone who says, oh, I'm looking for the cheapest price, oh, I'm going to go and compare, I'm going to call someone else. They're always comparing. They think they're comparing apples for apples, but in reality, you should be trying to get them to understand the outcome. Hey, is this worth the leaking tap, or is this worth your smoke alarm going off all night and then you have a bad day at work, you have an accident and you crash your car? Of course, don't say that, but is it worth you explaining it to the customer in those ways to share the true benefit to their company and their business or themselves, so that they understand it's not always about the cheapest price. Let's go into emergency buyer. Why did I write plumber? Because they're usually plumbers who... Okay, emergency buyer. An emergency buyer is someone who has, of course, an urgent problem. They're desperate. And less price sensitive. They could still be a price sensitive customer. They could be a price sensitive customer still, even though they're in an emergency, so they might be scared. But the emergency, the urgency that person has allows you to bump up your price, and they're buying a bit more with emotion. For example, let's say their smoke alarm keeps buzzing in their house. They're now no longer buying based on the service that you're offering. They're buying based on the need that they have. That emotionally their kids will be awake, their kids are going to wake them up, their neighbors, they're going to have a bad reputation with the neighbors because the smoke alarm keeps going off all night. So when, let's say for example, I'm going to diverge for a bit, if you have an emergency client whose smoke alarm keeps going off, or their tap keeps leaking, or they smell gas in their property, or they have visitors coming off and they need to cut their lawn and make it look nice and set a good example, they're emotionally and they're very urgently in need of your service. So this is what I would do. Hey, okay, you've got a smoke alarm. Is there anyone, do you have any kids in the house? Yeah, we've got kids. Oh, are they being woken by this at night? Yeah, they're being woken. Like, if you want, I can come today and fix it for you, but there will be an extra $30, you know, $50 call out fee. Or I can come and do it tomorrow, you know, with no call out fee. If you want your kids to stay up, if you don't want your kids to stay up, I guess you would want me to come today, right? And that gets the customer now focused on getting it resolved today because they don't want their kids to be woken up by smoke alarms. So dive into the customer's pain point and what they've said, because that means they will pay more, even if they are still a bit of a price shopper as an emergency buyer. Premium buyers, we love them, my favorite clients, but hard to come by, right? Premium clients, you don't always get them, you won't always get them. So they want the best. Want the best. What do you mean? You might be thinking, people don't always want to pay the most. Wanting the best means if something is going to cost them $140 and you say, hey, for $250, we can do all of this. For them, that $110, it's nothing. They will pay that extra $110 for the peace of mind. It's the absolute best that they could have got. For them, $110 was nothing. They want the absolute best. Quality. They want to make sure, and they assume when they pay more, they get more quality, which in most situations is true. When someone pays more, you have more time to dedicate to them, you have more resources, and you value them more because they're a higher chunk of your revenue, which is of course a bit of a disadvantage, but you do value customers who pay you more because you can spend more time with them. They put more trust into you. Of course, price is less, urgent for them, and they want a premium experience. What's a premium experience? If you have high-paying clients, you give them more calls, you give them more rewards, you give them more services, you give them more meetings. For example, if you're a counselor, coach, for example, you give them more services or more access to yourself. If you're a plumber or an electrician, you give them the certainty that we will fix it, guaranteed. A premium buyer wants a premium experience, tracking experience. Maybe if you want to only get premium customers, maybe make a mobile app where they can track you turning up to the property. They want an Uber-like experience. They booked you to come and, clean the solar panels. They got an app that said the booking was confirmed and an SMS to say the booking was confirmed, and they could track you to their house so that they could get on with their day. That's a premium experience. Not every local solar panel cleaning company can provide that. Especially with AI, you can develop these kind of apps very simply, or you can contact any company to be able to generate something like this for you within a couple of days at most. A loyal customer. What's a loyal customer? Buys repeatedly. Only comes back to you because they know you're going to do it right the first time. You're a nice personality, you come on time, and you charge fairly. A repeat customer, someone who will buy off you repeatedly. They have trust in your business. And lastly, they stay for a long term. A referral customer. So a loyal customer, everyone wants one. They stay with you even on bad times, bad weeks. They still come back because they know you had those good days. A few bad days doesn't replace the extraordinary days. We get those with our clients. We have extraordinary months, and then we have a few down days, a few down weeks, but our clients know the overall net positive +9 outweighs, you know, the -2 negatives that can happen in business. It's normal. Which is why typically in our agents we like to work with business owners who have been running any business for a few years. They understand there are ups and downs. Whereas startups that come to us, they expect the same average every single day, which is simply not true and simply not possible. So so that's why we like to work with loyal customers. Referral customer is someone who has come through a client of yours and they have told their friend about you. These kind of referral customers, they buy with 0 questions asked. They already know from their friend, or you get 10 inquiries, 2 of them turn to customers. A referral, if you have 10 referrals, I'm guessing 8 of them will turn into customers easily. And referral customers, since they came from another loyal customer, they understand the pathway. Hey, my friend referred me. When they now get a friend who needs a service, subconsciously, they will refer more people. So a referral customer refers more people than a loyal customer. The loyal customer referred you to the referral. That referral customer, once they start using your service, always refers you to more people than that initial loyal customer, because that's how they came to you, which means that's how they are going to behave and share more customers to you. So let's say you have John, your initial main regular client. John refers you to 2 people, A and B. John's referred you to 2 customers, whereas A and B will most likely refer you to, let's say, 3 customers each. You've now acquired 6 customers from John. John only shared you to 2 people, whereas those customers referrals shared you to a further 3 each. So you've been able to generate 6 customers from 1 John. Have a referrals program if you don't already have a referrals program. It's one of the most important things. For example, for our agency, we have a referral program where our existing clients can refer someone else and they can get $500 for themselves, and the new referral gets some additional services from us. For example, some free social media content. If we're doing their Google ads for them, we'll assist them complimentary for the social media to just boost it a bit, give them a month's content for free, just so they can keep posting, help them elsewhere. Helping people in other places they didn't request your service builds a very high level of trust. Okay, Tom, I'm going to do the ending for the YouTube video. So, how do I end this? So here are the 5 kind of customers most businesses have: premium price shoppers, emergency buyers, premium buyers, loyal customers, referral customers. You need to treat all of them differently. When you get a price shopping customer, try and look for emotion. If there's any emotion that you can hook onto, for example, urgency, try and get them to book any urgency you can find. Maybe, hey, if someone calls in for your lawn mowing company, hey, are there friends coming over, or is it because of summer, or have you not had it done for a while? What happens if you don't do this? Like, do you want this done today? And they're going to say, yeah. Why? Oh, because, you know, I've got friends coming over on the weekend. All right, so you got friends coming. I can come today if you want, $30 extra fee, or I can come tomorrow, but I think because you've got friends coming, you want me to come today, right? And the customer has already sold themselves by saying that the friends are coming tomorrow, which means they're now going to buy. Psychological. I'm going to make another video soon on psychology with price shoppers and how you get them to become emotional buyers, which is how most people buy. They buy with their, their head, their heart. I don't know what the saying is, but people buy with emotions. Get them to buy with emotions. If you found this video useful, don't forget to subscribe and comment your questions down below. I will answer everyone's questions within 24 hours. All right, let's answer these questions in the chat. I have one contractor sending us. All right, let's go into this question. Let's try and dive into this. Okay, so it is one contractor. So let's say Bob from the comments sent through, he had one contractor, 2 to 4 leads a week, per week, which is 8 to 16 leads per month. We should always think of it in a bigger picture. How many are you losing per month or per year? That's the actual number that matters. So the comment was, I've had one contractor sending us 2 to 4 leads a week, which was about 70 to 80K worth of work per year. Now they are gone. So that's the question we're trying to answer for this video, is how much did they actually lose, or how they can even recover back this money or revenue. So that customer was 8 to 16 leads per month. Let's assume a conversion rate of 50% for service businesses, which is completely fine. That means that is 4 to 8 customers per month. Let's assume out of those 4 to 8 customers, 50% are one-off jobs, 50% are regular work, and let's put a value per job at $100 for simplicity purposes. So let's say, let's go with the number of 8 customers. So if you've had 8 customers from those contractors, what has now happened? You've been able to generate 4 customers for one-off purchase, which means that's a revenue of $100 times 4, which means you've lost out on $400 in revenue for that month. That's not that bad. You can supplement it with ads and fix it straight away. But this is where the pain is. This is where it's really hurting the business. If those 4 customers were $100, but they used your service, let's say 12 times per month, 12 times, let's say 2 times a month for a year. So this $400 times 12 is $4,800 in revenue per annum that you've lost. This one over here is 400 times 2 times 12, 800 times 12, oh dear, 8,000, $9,600. Tom, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and 4,000. So what you've now lost is you've lost 2,000, 2x your annual recurring revenue. So you've lost $9,600 in annual recurring revenue, which is 2x of this, simply because they didn't come, because you, I'm just trying to check these numbers. Yeah, it sounds right. Yep. Okay, 12. Okay, so you've lost an additional 4,800 of annual revenue simply because of this. If we increase the job value to $300 per customer, these numbers go even higher. The gap between the two is even bigger. So what I would say is, when you lose a contractor, only focus on replacing. So let's say this was the bucket. This is one-off. This is regular. And let's say you've lost both of these customers. I would focus on replacing the regular lost customers that you would have had through this contractor, through ads, through magnets, through leaflets, through referrals, like maybe potentially contacting some real estate companies, or just door knocking if you have the facilities with an apprentice. But focus on replacing this regular work, because that's $9,600, and that actually is more than what the one-off clients would have been paying you anyways. So actually it's a 1-to-2 ratio. Your regular clients are worth twice as much because they use your services twice, and it was the same batch of 4 customers that generated you the $9,600 in revenue. Whereas this was not 4 customers, this was 4 times 12, which is 48 customers to generate the 4,800. This was 4 customers that generated you $9,600 in revenue. Do you see the difference? You needed 12 times as many customers to generate half the revenue. There were also one-off around 1 to 2K average. Ouch. You need to replace those regular customers as easily as possible. Regular customers, why are regular customers good? Regular customers are good because, of course, from regulars you get referrals, predictability, hire staff. So for example, if you know you have a regular cleaning contract for your business, you know you can hire one resource for your company for that specific office in Melbourne CBD, for example. What you can also do once you have regular clients is, for example, obtain lines of credit, which can allow you, for example, let's say you have a line of credit of 10K additional, which you didn't previously have. You can now use that to implement into your ads, which goes to your top of the funnel, which now goes and gets you these more regular clients, and then you spin it back and you keep doing it again and again. Of course, please don't get me wrong, there are gaps inside of the funnel, which we covered earlier in this live stream and this video. There are gaps from how many people see your ad, how many people click on your ad, how many people fill in the form. Every point you will lose people. You will never have 100% to get to from the beginning. So try and make it as efficient as possible. Find the gaps, fill in the gaps, and become better at keeping your regular clients for longer, because they refer you on to more people. They are more patient with you because they understand, it's a human doing the work. It's not a robot. If it was a robot, if anyone watching this has a robotic business, which should be 100% accurate, like, a farming machine that should do the job the same every time, it's understandable. But for most people that have a home service business, most of our clients, you really need to start investing into building a repeat customer base. I hope this video was helpful. I hope this live stream was helpful wherever you've been watching. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, share this with people so that they can get additional value and free tips. That's all we're trying to do, is share free tips, different ways of thinking about things, and hopefully one day when the right time is for you watching on YouTube, Twitch, Google, Instagram, wherever, we will work together to help you take your business to the next level, but when the time is right. Thank you for watching. Tom, can I just see what it looks like still there without stopping?